Have you seen that scene in The Incredibles, in the first one? I've made an Incredibles reference
you
before.
Love The Incredibles,
At the end of the film, when Dash is in the race, when he starts off and he's just like jogging, that's what Cream are doing right now. That's exactly the situation.
Big brain plays coming through. We're on to Erangel. It's our final match of day one of the regional finals here. And as you can see, Edwin's private plane will take him straight over to Novo for Nova, which is exactly where we want to be. Pittsburgh Knights going to go back to their regular Gatga split here, and I can expect that Misfits will go to Subnovska military base to be completely uncontested there. AreYouScared going to be contesting Method for North Georgia Pole, unless they contest HQA for South Georgia Pole. It's going to be one of the two. We'll see in just a second. Lights out. We'll get Rozhok, as always, with Revenants and SSG Space Station holding out in Yasnaya.
This is almost the exact opposite circle of the other Erangel game that we saw.
Literally.
Remember, that was southeast. This is northwest. It's almost zoning pretty much onto Zaki even at this stage. You've got a lot of that place just completely isolated, so everybody moving forwards. Actually, Cream getting run over by Wildcard. There we go. Nice one.
Where have they landed this time? Because Wildcard and Cream keep changing out their positions, but they seem to be following each other. And it's going to be up towards the shelter area, you know, that warehouse building between Mansion, the crossroads up there is where they're landing. Normally these guys go Milta or they go Farm. And today they've changed their play up, and they've just mixed it all up, and we'll have to see if it works out for them here. But, you know, Wildcard, one of the top teams from the semi-finals, haven't quite had the points today to really be contesting that top three just yet. And Cream, unfortunately, not doing as hot as they would like to here. This circle, like you mentioned, very northernly. So we're going to see different rotations coming through. That river by Rozhok going to come into play very nicely. Misfits and Nova down on Sobnoska Military Base Island will have to make an early rotation out unless they want to tank the blue. I guess it's up to them.
VN1 over by Stalbar. They're going to be pretty happy with that because that means they can rotate west pretty quickly towards Severny, towards shooting range. They might even opt to play for the coast and see what they can get done there. As you say, the river will be coming into play pretty heavily here. People are going to have to bank on whether they think northern or southern is going to be more likely and make their rotations accordingly. They could try and breach the ground north. That's risky. You have to cross the river. You have to make those rotations early. Or you could go south. But again, that's risky because if you make those rotations late, you're going to be fighting into more people than you would do if you made them early. So it really is a coin flip. It depends on your positioning. It depends on your knowledge of the other teams and where you think other people are going to be.
Already the rotations coming through from Cream, making their way up towards the Rozhok area that Lights Out currently contain. You can see Method and AreYouScared have a nice little healthy split of North Georgia Pole here where they're not contesting each other. HQA getting the better end of the bargain with the whole of South Georgia themselves.
I do really like the addition of these ramps. I have to say, on the side, it just makes things so much cleaner and so much nicer because it's always so fiddly trying to jump up. And
you must not drop Nova very often.
I honestly, I don't like that. I don't.
Nova's
like it.
the better shipping container.
Yeah, no one drops in South George shipping, or they shouldn't.
Pros don't.
Pros don't. I mean, to be fair, the winners of the India region
Team Sol
do.
They did.
They dropped South George containers, which is very, very odd. But you know, why knock it? Why knock it if they're going to win it? You know,
they did.
It works for them.
Huge performance out of India, but here we go.
Talking about India,
it's North America, and it's BlindedByWin catching out Granja here.
I was going to do one of my impressions that I can get away with in other regions, but I just don't think I could. The Trump impression probably wouldn't go down so well. But let's move on.
Let's move on, John.
Yeah,
that's fine.
As you say, though, Nova over in Novo are going to have to make the rotation at some point. They're going to be running into trouble with Wildcard if they want to cross the bridge. We talked about their bridge crossing last Erangel map, so we'll see.
Talk about their bridge crossing.
You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so early. But we talked about how it was a little bit undisciplined, maybe, coming out from Nova. So we'll see if they're able to tighten that one up this time around. Misfits as well. They're not going to have too much to combat with as they make this rotation. VN1 still pretty much alone over towards Stalber, but Revenants, they've made that rotation up towards the western side of Yasnaya, which means they can just flank around that lake. That does have its terminus over towards that western side of Yasnaya.
Pittsburgh Knights, they had their Gatka split. They all land in different locations around the Gatka area and just loot them up individually. Make sure that they get their vehicles. And you can see Jagger's already doing a bit of scout play up towards the north and is going to hold down that 4-stack just east of the Georgia Pole area where the bridges are. The road down to Roshok. So if Jagger can hold that compound for now, it's a really strong compound because it basically allows you to have that free rotation north or south. It looks like Method are making a crash into it, so we need to get a cam on that because Jagger's going to be contested by Method in just a second here. There it is. 7 is with him. Method going to steam on past. Yeah, okay, they are going to steam on past. Realize that it's already got players in it, so they're not going to contest.
And there's a really huge break coming down in the rotations. The players who are south, just over towards Sunken, over towards Pachinki as well. Not Pachinki, towards Roshok, have made that rotation up and across the river. So now we've got 3 teams vying for position there. You've got Lights Out, you've got Cream, and you've got Revenants who all just made that rotation. All at the same time, they all made that break.
Everyone starting to make the rotations. Everyone but Nova, but that's okay because Edwin's got his own private jet, so he can just shoot them on over to the top of the circle if he wants to.
Mom, I need a private jet again. Can I just borrow it? Just send it down to Nova. We need to go to shooting range, okay? Me and the boys, we want to go and have some shooting time, okay?
Nova need it at this point. I mean, after a really strong game 1 on Erangel today, you would want to see them put up another strong performance here. I'm looking towards Spacestation Gaming.
What do you mean the private jet's busy, Mom?
I'm looking towards Spacestation Gaming Nova here.
Gosh!
Just to see how they perform. Lights Out. You know, they've had strong performances, John, but they haven't quite got the chicken dinners yet.
They were able to get pretty close, though. They were able to do pretty well over on that first performance on Erangel.
Where have Methods? They're just sitting on top of the hills here, just north of the river. Every time you set up here, it feels like the circle hard shifts back south and you kind of find yourself on the wrong side. But you've got the vehicles and you've got the uncontested side of the circle, you could claim, maybe, to try and cross on over.
And here's an interesting little development over on the bridge. You see Misfits crossing at the moment. There's BlindedByWin just on the other side. I don't think they're going to want to fight this one out. They're not quite over towards the Overwatch that you can see over on the top right of your screens at the moment. So that means Misfits are going to be able to pass relatively uncontested. They should be pretty safe with that one. But the sound that they're making will give a little hint as to the timing of that rotation coming in for BlindedByWin. So they have a little bit of info, but they are going to mount up themselves. They'll be able to spot it out, and I think actually Misfits are taking a couple of shots at them, so they will be aware of each other's presence on this northward rotation that will be coming in. Next circle pop is going to be really crucial. It's going to dictate whether people are going to go north or south of the river. Could be very central, though, which would mean that, again, it's just a 50-50 split.
Yeah, you can see already a lot of teams fighting for that premier location up towards the center area, just right of shooting range between Yasnaya and Severny. Space Station Gaming, VN1 already there. There's a care package coming down as well. The Space Station Gaming will have their eyes on. The circle is going to close, and we'll get to see where the shift goes for us. Is it going to go very central? No, it is shift. That's a hard shift towards the north side.
Do you know, I was going to say, this is the exact circle I wanted to see, honestly. This is probably one of the more interesting things to see. I think I think Nova actually took a drop. This is the Orm getting dropped into the mix. This is actually going to be really huge because there's a lot of open ground to the northern side. South of Severny, around there. Yasnaya, really the only built-up area that's going to be viable moving forwards. But you've got a little bit of Roshok.
Space Station Gaming's already set up in this area here. This is exactly where you want to be, where VN1 are basically crashing on down right now. If you can get up into this area here, you have such strong end-game potential. We see teams win just by holding that 3-stack compound up on the top of the hill where that valley is north of the river. Space Station Gaming at the gas station. Juicy has returned to his team, but you can see right off in the distance VN1 already making their rotations over towards the stronger compounds in this area. And I think this is the best time to make the gamble, really, and try and fight for those compounds because they can be such game changers if you get there early. And with the circle already hard shifting to this area, the chances that it does end towards that area is really good.
Nova are clashing at the moment with BlindedByWin down in the southwest. They are winning out the fray as well as Cream take on HQA. A little bit of a tumble for them, but they're not going to be capitalized on just yet. Chiwang able to get away for now. Oh, he's still not doing super well, but he's out of the vehicle. Wants to go a little bit further around the cliff face, and Cheto not quite able to finish it off. HQA crashing into the rest of the compound as well. They're starting to move on forwards. They have already taken a knock. HQA down to 3 in effective range at the moment, but they do have to worry about Chiwang if you're Cream. He's going to spot it out though. Hanzi just a little bit further forwards, goes to the side with spray, but he tucks on in. He's not going to go for the duel just yet.
Yeah, it's going to be Chiwang trying to take them out. This is the second time HQA and Cream have basically battled for a compound. Back-to-back matches here. And if you're Cream, you're basically wondering why HQA is all over you. This time maybe they can hold on out because they got light out third partying from down in Rozhok, just firing shots across the river. Why not at this stage? HQA have to be a little bit more careful coming through here. But here comes the push on in, and it's going to be Cream trying to find the fire, but doesn't quite get it in the corner. Yifei just able to get the kills, got the team support. Only Cheeto left alive at the top of the roof.
He had 3 targets and missed all of it on the Vector. Not what you want to see coming out. And you can see, you know, Cream there not doing so hot. Only 8 points on the day so far. And it looks like that's not really due to change. 0 kills. Very, very risky at the moment. Cheto, only player remaining for them. In the whole time this has been going on, Misfits, they've been making a huge rotation over towards the west, over towards that western bridge on the Georgia Pole. But back into the action, Cheto goes down. His team gets eliminated in 16th. 0 points, 8 points on the day. I hazard a guess that that's going to knock them out the running for top 3.
Yeah, no, it's not what Cream need here. And they would basically have to get back-to-back chicken dinners.
Yeah, sorry,
tomorrow.
I just want to highlight the rotation as well that Misfits made. Again, coming all the way around, they made that rotation to the western bridge in Georgia Pole. They're now on the western side of the circle, pretty much uncontested. AreYouScared were the only ones to come from that direction. You can see they've already moved their way in. You can see them on the top of your screens right now. The Pittsburgh Knights will be contesting them from this compound, which is actually, they've laid out a nice hold on that, so I'm pretty proud of them on that front. But that western front is a threat from Misfits.
See B and 1, they push up to the warehouse here. Just firing onto G25. Personally, I think the compound just there, the 3 stack that you can see on the minimap on the top right, that's where you want to be in this circle if it was to close on here. Just gives you better cover, and if the circle does close around the compounds like it does tend to do in competitive settings, then makes things nice and easy. The warehouse can work. It really just comes down to that Phase 6, Phase 7 RNG of where the circle does shift. These compounds here by Method tend to be pretty disastrous if you hold them for too long.
It is pretty tricky to move away from. That is to be sure. And if a lot of teams start to descend on them, you're pretty much done for. And they're going to be going for it. But Wildcard as well, another team that is in the running, currently sat in 5th. You're going to be looking to climb up just that little bit further at the moment. Just above Method, actually, I believe, for now. So they are going to be trying to spy that one out. Lights out towards the north of Rozhok, south of the river. A little bit of a cut means that it's more than likely going to be north of the river, so they will have to make that cross at some point, depending on the next circle shift. Yep. It could be hard southeast and give them a little bit more ground, but more than likely, it's going to be north of that river, because the majority of the zone is at this stage centered around that location.
Yeah, Misfits are now in circle over towards the shooting range, just on the southwest side of it. AreYouScared currently sitting on the east side of shooting range, trying to contest the compound that Pittsburgh Knights have just outside of Severny to its south on the road.
That drop I believe did get picked up by Wildcard, the first drop that came through. But there's another one going around, and it's down over to the western shooting range, in the path of Misfits, actually. So if they are going to go for it, they might just be able to pick themselves up a nice little loot crate, a nice little level 3 armor refresh for one of their players, and see what else they can get. Next circle just about to pop. That's a really nice westerly shift. It's going to push people over to the north, but Lights Out can remain in Rozhok for now. The question is, do they do so and wait for those teams to develop just that little bit further? Because the next zone, unlikely to see a lot of conflict at the moment. We're waiting really for another zone or 2 to come through for that one. That's a really nice crate coming through,
Straight
actually.
into shooting range as well.
Straight into shooting range. You got the Orm and it is going to be so deadly moving forwards. Misfits actually look like they might be diverting for it, but are you scared? They've wrapped around back. You can see they're making their way over now. They're going to be spying that one out, so they might just be able to claim that one, and it seems like they are nicely picked on up. But VN1, they're going to start to move in, just as Are You Scared have moved out from that location.
Yeah, and everyone's going to make their rotations now. The shift, not what these players were anticipating. We're going into the woods now of the north side of the map, where Method have that 2-stack, which can be really difficult terrain to play around, but if the circle closes on you, then it doesn't matter. So that really works out for Method. Take it all back. Revenants have the compound just to its west, and Misfits are able to move in from the western side completely uncontested, which is going to work great for them pushing on in. The rest of the players all have to crash on the eastern south side of the circle, where they're going to be fighting an uphill battle terrain-wise to try and get on into this one. It's going to be very difficult for the likes of Lights Out, Nova, Granja, and BlindedByWin, because Delta Stars already have set up in the compound with all 4 players basically holding different buildings there.
Misfits could get wrapped on here by VN1, as they are making that westerly side rotation. The good thing for Misfits is that they're being approached with vehicles, which means they'll be very aware of this position. G25 actually making a very similar rotation. They're going to try and go through Severny, and they might actually try and go for that western flank as well. Everyone's sort of rotating clockwise on the outside of the circle to try and get onto the slow side for now. But they're going to have to push in. They're going to have to push through Misfits, who are the biggest, baddest team right now in the tournament. So it's going to be a very difficult rotation to make. We'll see if they're able to do so.
I love that Delta Stars have 2 players playing the terrain around that compound there. It's such a risk. Anyone can come over the hills there and basically contest the buildings due to the way it's all set up there. So Delta Stars have 2 scouts basically holding it on out, and it's going to be necessary because Nova is starting to push on up towards it. Miraz firing onto Edwin, who has to retreat. Cotto trying to come around from the side, but will get spotted out, and now they're all retreating to the yellow building. Not a real good position to be in, but it will have to do for now here in Phase 3. Lights Out still sitting down in Roshog. They've still got the circle down there, so they're not forced to move just yet. Yeah, they will be the last ones to move in.
They'll be all right. They'll start to move forwards. It's a very short crossing, actually, just outside Roshog. It's one of the narrowest parts of the river, so you can get across pretty quickly if you do want to go for that swim. It's not the end of the world. It's not disastrous. The question is someone going to be looking your way? If HQA turn around and look towards them, it's going to be very difficult. Misfits under a little bit of pressure over by the crash plane over on the top of that mountain. VN1 starting to approach their way. Uneven is already very low. Only player to go down, though, so they should be okay for now. If they try and push on back and have a little bit more pressure there, they might be able to hold on to it.
Yeah, that push from VN1's quite smart. All the way around the northern western side of the circle that Misfits had just cleared out. So Misfits potentially feeling a little bit confident that they were able to push on over to the crash site, the plane crash site, and be fairly safe there. And VN1 have just completely thrown a spanner in the works for that one. So now Misfits going to have a contest of VN1 coming from the west, the side that Misfits thought was their most safe. Circle going to be closing on in here, and everyone's made their way into it now. And now the hard shift comes all the way down south. It's still on the northern side of the river. Somehow Roshog stays in it. Lights Out still not needing to move. The circle luck for them has been incredible so far today. Delta Stars compound going to be the prime location that many teams are going to be fighting over here. Method, I think their compound is just edge circle. Maybe they're going to have to push on out of it. HQA still have some good locations. I think they've got a Harry Potter tower that they can work with there.
Yeah, it's not the best of situations, especially when all of these teams are going to be crunching towards you. It's going to be pretty easy to hold, certainly, from one direction, but as soon as like 2 or 3 teams start planking away at you, it's going to be very difficult for them to do it. But everybody starting to move on forwards now into this circle. Are You Scared making an early rotation? They're going to get shut down from the edge guarding going on from Wildcard. Well, certainly one knock is going to go through.
Oh man, Miraz has a complete overshot of this fight here, but he has so many areas that he needs to fight from. Everyone's going to be pushing on in. This compound here is probably where everyone wants to be.
I think he should have gone for that shot. I think there was no reason you shouldn't.
Sam just knocked the wheels off the buggy. Juicy's buggy now out of play here. Juicy with the orb as well, unless he's traded it to someone else, and now isolated by Nova at the yellow house.
Well, if they take the fight with an orb, should be able to get taken down. It's a question of, is he going to be able to hit the shots? Is he going to be able to land the sniper from that position? It's the time to do so. Misfits making their rotation again on that westerly side. VN1 have made a huge counterclockwise rotation yet again, and they are going to be over on the southern side of this river. Lights Out actually now in a little bit of a fight with a couple of different teams, actually, Pittsburgh Knights and BlindedByWin.
Yeah, so look at this. So VN1 are down by Watertown, which is not in the circle, but they can start pushing over towards Rozhok and contest from behind. You can see the shots coming through. AreYouScared has Nicholas making a bold dash in the buggy. Multiple teams spraying onto him here. That's 2 knocks coming through from AreYouScared.
Wildcard taking a lot of punishment over on that northern side of the next circle. They are going to be pretty chuffed with that one.
Yeah, it's
there you go. It's a little bit of English slang for you Americans.
Pittsburgh Knights, big clockwise rotation around the circle to make it onto the eastern side now and trying to push on in via that.
Misfits are getting counted out on that western side as well by G25. They're going to be vying for that western flank. Oh, they're going to be pushing in. You can see Wildcard. They've already taken a lot of punishment earlier on. Spacestation Gaming going to try and roll on through. There's so many in that vehicle. Are they going to get sprayed down? No, they're going to be able to just roll it around and instead go for a little bit of a different path this time around.
Yeah, Juicy gets knocked there. Angry and flushed out. Angry will be able to escape for now, but that vehicle on the edge of circle not going to find an easy way in here. Spacestation Gaming needed a strong performance. Sixless has managed to get into the center circle and will be basically the anchor for his team now as Angry tries to rotate from outside the circle. You can see G25 have been caught up by Misfits, and there's the push up north. VN1's gambit did not work out. They will have to recross the river, and finally Lights Out get pushed out of their compound in Rozhok. It's just pushing on towards Method here.
Next circle is a northern shift. Finally, Lights Out are going to have to move. Wildcard, they used a lot of smokes in that fight to get their teammates back up, which means that they're going to lose a little bit of pressure moving forwards into those next circles. G25 taking a lot of punishment over on that western flank. Just Lucas remains for their squad at the moment. So that western side is going to be controlled. VN1, they took a risk on their rotation and it did not pay off. They are going to have to cross this river yet again. Misfits, if they spot them out, should be able to shut it down pretty easily.
I think Delta Star's compound may have just been pushed out of the circle. They're now going to have to contest AreYouScared for the terrain that this circle's all about. No buildings to play around. It's all trees, ridges, and hills and rocks.
This is where smokes come in absolutely huge. It's so important. You can see Method are trucking a whole bunch down around them.
Yeah, the radio tower here, Sixless basically just proning his way to a better position for the team. Angry, very split from Sixless. They got the 1-1 split here going on. Both going to just be trying to get their positions here as the Pittsburgh Knights make a southerly rotation to the circle. Lights Out and BlindedByWin going to be crossing the same bridge in just a second.
HQA with one of the very few compounds in the map remaining at this stage.
Still in, yeah.
They are going to still be in it. Revenants, they have got one of the buildings, the 3-stack on the other side, but they are split. They are 2-2 at the moment. The rest of the team have to make their way through. VN1 looking to cross the river at the moment. Xenoth has been knocked for Misfits, as VN1 do make this cross, which means that they do have the chance to make it through.
Didn't contest that at all. They just let Lights Out just cross on over. They want to try and backstab into the new circle. Lights Out are just gunning it into the middle of the circle here.
They're in, and I think that's Granas as well, going down out in 15th. They are going to be falling, unfortunately for them. It is Pittsburgh Knights who are going to be coming out on top of that rotation, but they are going to crash straight on into Lights Out. It's going to be pretty tricky. You can see Jagger up the top there, trying to chuck on those nades down and ruin those vehicles as they move in.
Yeah, Lights Out holding this hill. They've got Pittsburgh above them. Going to be a constant threat for themselves. Nova are crashing on the north side of the circle. Wildcard trying to stop them from coming in. AreYouScared have a single blue shack to hold on down here, the garage building. See if they can hold it for themselves, as it is going to be the push coming through. But
Misfits taking punishment.
Misfits do take punishment, but it's Delta Stars who get punished by AreYouScared, eliminated in 14th here.
I think that might be Misfits going down as well. On that western side, no, they still have a few players left in the mix. It's going to be very tricky for them to get back up, though. They got taken down by a really nice couple of spray downs. G25, Revenants, as well as HQA, all in the mix there. VN1 need to move into this next circle. It's going to do a lot of damage, and they are out in the blue. Everyone on this northern side at risk as well. You can see how many teams are just clustered up there, and they're going to be pushed in really close to each other. Lights Out just on that southern side as the buildings, the number of buildings in the zone, I think, has shrunk to almost 0.
Here's that Orm play coming through. A tag into the chest gives him so much time to be able to just reset that fight. Are you scared? Need to move into the circle in just a little bit here. But right now they have to contest with Nova and Wildcard, who are pushing in from their north. They've got Method to their south as well. Pittsburgh Knights and Lights Out probably going to be the most uncontested teams unless they contest each other. For now, just on that ridge line. Oh, Method! That's a huge spray down. They were not watching their sides here. That could just be Method eliminated in just a second here. It's only one player left alive. Steamy. Method out in 12.
One of the most consistent placement teams, unfortunately going down very, very early on. Misfits as well, I believe they've been fully eliminated now at this stage, going out in 12th position. Misfits, I was going to say as well, seem to have gone down. I can't spot them on the minimap anywhere. I think they are out of the running. On that western side, HQA, Revenants, and G25 now taking up that mantle and trying to go for that position. Next circle, going to push people in at the moment. Lights Out have a very strong position into the south side of it. Pittsburgh Knights as well on the east, and no one else is secure at this stage.
Here it comes, the BlindedByWin backstab, going to wipe out Are You Scared on the side there. Still got TJ left alive. Somehow, G25 going to go out in ninth here as TJ contesting Wildcard. Okay. That's why Are You Scared in 8th now. Wildcard may just get eliminated as well. They do. That's going to be everyone going down. HQA. Somehow Spacestation Gaming have reconnected at a care package, but we're down to 4 teams all of a sudden. It's Lights Out, Pittsburgh Knights, Revenants, and Space Station Gaming all contesting for those points, and some key players going out really early. Misfits going out really early allows Lights Out and Space Station Gaming to close that gap, John, here for that top 3. Lights Out, it's not an easy location to play, and they've got Pittsburgh Knights constantly pressuring them, but they've got the circle once more here, John.
Lights Out are only 1 point beneath Space Station Gaming before going into this match. Yep. So seeing them move forwards like this is really, really strong from them. 4 kills for Space Station, Lights Out on 5, which means that at the moment, it's dead even. Yeah. It is a dead heat. It all comes down to placement. If they can get a couple more kills, fantastic. If they can get a little bit more pressure, fantastic. Lights Out, 4 players alive. The only team with 4. The rest all on 2. Pittsburgh Knights take a knock, and that could trigger a little bit of fighting going on. A long-range knock coming out from the Revenants.
Yeah, right across the circle here, and you can see Lights Out trying to spray back. And
I say long range. The circle's very small.
Very small. This is the position from Lights Out. It's the best as far as actual terrain is concerned, but they don't have much agency in this position. They're going to be constantly playing a reactionary game, which has hurt them in the past, John. It's how they've not been able to secure chicken dinners so far in today's games. And so whilst Lights Out have the safety of terrain where they can't be spotted, as soon as a team does push upon them, they're going to have to play reaction. We'll have to see if they can do so today. They haven't been able to yet. Pittsburgh Knights getting pressured by Space Station Gaming, who look to be all but out, but somehow Sixless and Angry have managed to push it on into the circle. They've got a death push across a flat terrain here to cross, and they're out of their smoke nades here. Maybe Angry has one more that he can use, but the circle's just nipping at their heels here.
Whoever wins this game out of Lights Out, if it comes down to it, out of Lights Out and Space Station Gaming, is in with a chance of a huge close on that gap up to Misfits. It's just about 30 at the moment, so they can improve with a bunch of different kills. But the Pittsburgh Knights, they've got 8 kills so far.
This is the 3rd game today where we said Lights Out should win this. But it is true. That is Space Station Gaming eliminated. Now 2 teams remain. Pittsburgh Knights have the high ground. Lights Out, well, maybe they can do what Anakin couldn't. But right now, it's looking dire for them. This position, they have to climb up a hill. 3 games today, Lights Out have held center circle. They've got to these end game positions where they just should have won it. And you want to see them win it. You want to see them get the chicken dinner here, John. You can't imagine that they would choke 3 times in this position.
See Monarch and Jagger both on your screens. They're stimming
they've
up.
Got 2 frag nades there.
No meds for Monarch. This is going to be pretty tricky. He's only got bandages. If the nade goes well, if he cooks it right, if it goes over the top and hits the damage, it might just do a lot. Only a little bit found, a little tickle to the back of Lights Out, and the spray down's coming through. They have got the overlook, and actually Lights Out could struggle. They need to go for the double peaks. They need to try and go 2 at a time.
This could be
Another cook coming through from Monarch. This is last frag grenade coming on out.
That's
the nade
better.
over the top, the bounce is on the top. Is he going to find anything? No, it's a little bit too high up in the air, and again, just a tickle is found. Lights Out still standing strong with 4.
Lights Out have to push from low ground, and they're going to just have 0 information here. Pittsburgh Knights, if Jagger and Monarch can coordinate with each other, then this should be the chicken dinner coming their way. But it all comes down to their communication and teamwork here. Do they have each other's backs is the real question. That armor for Monarch not looking so hot could play spoiler, but it's going to be the headshot game that really matters, and that's where Jagger's level 3 helmet really holds out here. That circle going to be closing very shortly here as well. And Lights Out will be forced to move from their position, considering that the closest to the circle, I believe. I can't quite confirm it, but that's my gut feeling right now.
Everyone's playing on the edge at this stage, I think. They're all pretty much right around the sides. No one is actually in the middle. It falls somewhere just sort of between the two teams. So it's very much a case of who's going to be able to get in there first. Lights Out, I haven't seen too many nades being thrown out from them so far, so they might just have the advantage on the next circle. 4 first aid kits for Jagger, but none for Monarch.
Jagger's in a position here where potentially they play a healing game on the cert phase 9 and just try out heal Lights Out whilst Monarch tries a ray from above. If you're going to do that, you would want to make sure you're fully stimmed. We'll have to see if Jagger does commit to that in just a second here.
This is going to be this feels like a no move
there we
until
go.
the
He's
zone.
putting down everything. So is he trying to make more room for meds? Is Monarch going to come over and give his bandages and first aids over? It's the real question.
They're both stimming up. This feels like a go time.
Yep. Certainly does. So tense. Lights Out. 4 members alive. But if it's going to be a healing game from Jagger, they're going to have to push on up the hill, take out Monarch, and take out Jagger as well.
Okay, I don't know why he'd drop his mini. I mean, I can understand dropping a backpack in a final circle to try and snake your way in, but everyone knows where everyone is, but I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. He won't need it, probably, at this range, but it's always just good to have that secondary
Is that
weapon.
a smoke nade being thrown over? I think it is from Lucifer. Maybe it's a frag.
They might
One
try and
knock
find
would
something.
all they need.
That would be pretty much it. That would seal the deal. The zone, I believe, is very, very close to shrinking. The spray down from Monarch. Ooh, spots out ahead.
Lights Out have some cover now. That's the smoke's coming through. This is
Monarch's
really
going to spray this angle, though.
The play for Monarch here. Going to have to link up here with Jagger, who looks like he's getting ready to try and out-heal the blue damage in just a second.
This is the sort of thing I was talking about earlier on. Smokes are so important in these final circles. Lights Out, having that utility, allows them to move from this position. They know they were safe. They were waiting for those peaks on the head, but the zone is going to start to close now. It's going to start to push them in. The crunch time is on.
Jagger's going to try and out-heal the damage here. You can see him getting ready to stim it on up as the blue's going to be crashing on in. The full stim. Monarch's just going to try and deal damage to Lights Out, make sure that they can't do so. Is that Seagut at the back who's going to be trying to heal up? Yeah, it is. It's going to be Seagut trying to do the healing for them. Lights Out making the death push up. Monarch finds one knock here. Here comes the rest of Lights Out. They get the knock. Now they just need to find Jagger. Lights Out. Do it. They find the chicken dinner. No chokes here in Game 5 of Erangel.
Oh, they're able to finally put the pain in, and they get it done. Jagger just about spotted out in the end. Oh my goodness, how